They didn't turn on you because you were wrong. They turned on you because you were real in a world built on rehearsed lies. Let's get one thing clear before we dive into this. They didn't attack you because you failed them. They attacked you because your very existence dismantled the illusion they spent years curating. Your light wasn't a threat. It was a revelation. And revelations ruin performances. You showed up, didn't ask for permission, didn't play their roles, didn't wear their masks, and suddenly the room got tense. Suddenly, the ones who used to smile started whispering. Not because you hurt them, but because you exposed the hurt they were hiding. You didn't even have to speak. Your silence said enough. Your presence screamed what their souls tried to ignore. You're not living in your truth. And before we go any further, let's do something that matters. If this already resonates with your spirit, like this video, subscribe, and hit that bell, not for vanity, but for visibility. Because every time a chosen one reacts, it sends a signal to the algorithm and to the universe itself that truth still matters and that more of us are waking up. Let's flood this space with real energy, with alignment, with voices that carry more weight than ego ever could. This isn't just content. This is a call to arms for every soul that's been silently under attack for simply being. Now, let's talk about what really happened. A shocking clash didn't erupt because you were aggressive. It erupted because your alignment shook their foundation, because you were centered while they were scattered. You walked into rooms with no hidden motives, no envy, no performance. And that scared them, because deep down, they weren't at war with you. They were at war with themselves, and you were the trigger, the mirror, the living, breathing proof that it's possible to rise without pretending, to succeed without sabotaging, to love without controlling. And that kind of energy, it's terrifying to people who've built their worth off facades. You didn't just walk away from their game. You exposed that the game was rigged from the start. You made them feel things they weren't ready to feel. Insecurity, inadequacy, guilt, jealousy. They told themselves they were better than you, more deserving, more loved. But then you walked in with a glow they couldn't ignore. Not a spotlight you begged for, but a light you were born with. And the moment they realized they couldn't duplicate it, they tried to destroy it. That's the power of being chosen. It doesn't come with applause. It comes with pressure. It's not a crown. It's a target. It's the quiet knowing that you were marked long before they knew your name. And the thing about being chosen? It haunts people. Your peace? It irritates their chaos. Your confidence? It exposes their insecurities. Your blessings? They think it's unfair because they prayed for what you carry, but never did the inner work to hold it. Let them clash. Let them scream. Let them fight over shadows they created in their own minds. You didn't create this chaos. They did. Your presence just made it impossible to hide. You are not the storm. You're the lightning that reveals the cracks. You're the divine interruption they never planned for but can't ignore. You didn't just show up. You activated their truth. And now, they're panicking. Because when you're chosen, your name doesn't just echo in rooms. It splits them. So here's your moment, chosen one. Before we go deeper into this divine chaos, do this one thing to shift the atmosphere. Drop 777 in the comments if you've ever felt that eerie silence after your name got dragged into drama you never caused. If your glow caused confusion, if people clashed over you while pretending they weren't watching, you're exactly who this message is for. like this video, subscribe, hit that bell icon. Not for the numbers, for the alignment. Every click helps this truth reach another soul who's being blamed for what others secretly feel. Let's make sure this message finds every mirror, every outlier, every misunderstood light. Because this is just the beginning. And now, let's break it all down, step by step. But fair warning, if you're truly chosen, your spirit won't let you click away. You're about to hear your own story, your own war, your own rise spoken out loud. So, lean in, stay close. Because what's coming next will hit different. Let's begin. Number 1. When envy wears a friendly face, war is inevitable. They didn't lose you. They lost access to what they could never become. Not everyone who celebrated you meant it. Some only clapped so no one would notice their hands were shaking. They weren't cheering you on. They were measuring how high you'd go before they started pulling at your ankles. And now, they can't even fake the applause anymore. The mask slipped, the envy leaked, and the war they've been silently preparing for just erupted in real time. You see, when envy wears a friendly face, betrayal isn't a matter of if, it's a matter of when. They smiled in your direction, but their spirit flinched every time you glowed. They shared your wins, but deep down, they prayed you'd stop winning. Because your rise didn't just inspire, it exposed. You didn't level up to show off, but your growth became a mirror. And insecure people don't look at mirrors, they try to shatter them. Some of you are wondering, but why me? I showed them love. I stayed humble. I never flexed. But chosen ones don't get attacked for being loud. They get attacked for being undeniable. You didn't trigger their hate. You triggered their inadequacy. You were the living answer to the question they kept asking the universe, why not me? And when the universe pointed at you instead, they cracked. Remember, envy is a disease that hides in compliments. And when it finally gets brave enough to move, it doesn't just walk, it explodes. What started as admiration quickly curdled into competition. They watched you from the sidelines, smiling in photos. But behind closed doors, they were rehearsing your downfall like it was a script. And now that the spotlight refuses to move away from you, their frustration has nowhere else to go but outward. So, what do? They clash. They explode. They blame each other. They twist stories. All because you kept becoming while they stayed bitter. And let's be real, this isn't new. This is the same spirit that turned brothers into enemies. Joseph's own blood threw him into a pit, not because he did something wrong, but because he dared to dream loudly. Jesus was crucified not by strangers, but by the very people who shouted, "Hosanna," days before. Oprah was told she wasn't fit for television. Michael Jordan was cut from his high school team. The greats? Always doubted, always envied, always attacked first by those closest. Because proximity doesn't guarantee support. Sometimes it just gives envy a front row seat to your greatness. This clash you're watching unfold, it's not a coincidence. It's divine separation. The universe is exposing what's been rotting under fake smiles and forced hugs. They couldn't celebrate you honestly, so now they're devouring each other bitterly. That's what happens when you take yourself out of the equation. They have no one else to hate, so the knives turn inward. You weren't the problem. You were the pulse, the energy. the heartbeat of a space they couldn't thrive in without dimming someone else. So hear this clearly: you didn't cause the war. They declared it when they couldn't compete with your peace. And peace, for the chosen, is not passive. It's disruptive. It makes insecure people itch. It reveals what they tried to bury under charisma and charm. You didn't walk in trying to be better. You just walked in being real. And that's all it took to shake their illusion. Some of them thought, if I pretend to be close enough, maybe I'll catch their favor. But the thing about favor, it's not contagious, it's assigned. They watched you walk through hell and still glow, and instead of asking how, they plotted why. That's the danger of unhealed egos watching chosen ones rise. It turns praise into paranoia. And now, every suppressed emotion is spilling. Every fake alliance is fracturing. The war they hid behind smiles is now in full view. Let that be your motivation, not to get petty, but to get clear. Your elevation is the very proof that they can't stop you, not with gossip, not with lies, not even with silence. They can gather, they can whisper, they can shout. But when you're chosen, even your stillness speaks louder than their schemes. So if it feels like chaos broke out the moment you got quiet, the moment you distanced yourself, the moment you stopped shrinking, good. That means your energy did exactly what it was designed to do: trigger truth. And now that the truth is out, let it burn. Let the war unfold. Because when envy wears a friendly face, the fall of the fake is only a matter of time. Number 2. Love, lies, and side eyes. They never wanted you to win. They called it love, but their energy said war. Let that sink in. Because if you're truly chosen, you felt this in your bones before you ever had the language for it. You knew something was off before the fallout, before the side eyes, before the silence got weird. You felt the tension every time you shared a win. You sensed the shift when your energy elevated and theirs didn't. You started to notice the compliments had teeth. The laughter was just a little too forced. The support? Conditional at best. And the truth you couldn't quite say out loud yet. They never wanted you to win. Not really. They wanted you visible, but not valuable. Loud, but not heard. Growing, but never beyond them. The moment your glow became undeniable, the love they claimed started showing its cracks. Suddenly, your posts felt braggy. Your wins were too much. Your boundaries were cold. Your evolution offensive. Not because you hurt anyone, but because your very progress reminded them of everything they refused to face in themselves. You didn't change. They did. Or more accurately, they stopped hiding how they really felt. That fake love had an expiration date, and the moment you reached a level they couldn't mimic, copy, or compete with, the shade became too heavy to hide. Suddenly, your jokes weren't funny. Your messages were left on read. Your energy was different. But here's the catch. They always knew who you were. They just hoped you'd never realize it. And when you finally did, the switch flipped. The fake support system they built around you turned into a quiet battleground of side eyes and slick comments. One day they're hyping you up. The next, they're reposting cryptic quotes about humility and staying grounded. That's not love. That's resistance dressed up as concern. That's jealousy with a filter. And for a chosen one, nothing burns more than realizing the people you rooted for were secretly rooting against you the entire time. But here's what they never understood. Your glow wasn't luck. It wasn't handed to you. It was earned in silence, in dark places, in trenches they never saw. You didn't wake up chosen. You were forged in fire. While they were out chasing validation, you were doing the inner work that can't be faked. And when the rewards of that work started showing, that's when the masks began to fall. They clapped, but it was performative. They smiled, but it was tight-lipped. They stood beside you, but they never stood with you. You were never their favorite. They just wanted to be close enough to benefit without having to grow. And when that stopped being an option, they didn't walk away. They shifted, subtly, slowly, but you saw it. That's the thing about chosen ones. We may be patient, but we're never blind. And if you're still questioning it, still wondering, did I imagine that energy? Let me remind you, real love doesn't get offended by your shine. Real love doesn't throw shade when you're in the light. Real love claps the loudest because you're rising, not in spite of it. So when that energy shifts, believe it. Don't explain it away. Don't shrink to make it palatable. Let them choke on the truth they've been trying to avoid. Look at history. True greatness always walks alone for a while. Nipsey Hussle said it best. If you look at the people in your circle and don't get inspired, you don't have a circle, you have a cage. And too many of you are out here trying to inspire people who only ever intended to contain you. They loved you as long as you were digestible. But now that your truth is loud, your boundaries are firm, and your presence demands authenticity, they're uncomfortable. You were the friend who showed up, celebrated them, supported their growth, clapped in empty rooms. But when it was your turn, suddenly they were busy. Suddenly your success didn't resonate. Suddenly the group chat was silent. It's not a coincidence, it's exposure. And that's not a loss, it's liberation. Because the truth is, chosen ones were never meant to stay in spaces where love is performative and loyalty is seasonal. Your presence is power, your light is leadership, and your very being forces people to choose, grow with you, or expose themselves resisting you. So let them side-eye, let them whisper, let them post their little indirects. You don't owe fake love a response. You owe your purpose, your full focus. Because while they're busy throwing passive-aggressive jabs, the universe is still promoting you, still protecting you, still pushing you into places they can't follow. You didn't lose them. They lost the privilege of evolving beside you. And now, you keep rising. Let the shade talk. You weren't meant to be liked by everyone. You were meant to be undeniable. And right now, you are. Number 3. Too much light exposed too many shadows. You didn't start the fire. You just walked in glowing. That's what they'll never admit out loud. They want the world to think you came in loud, arrogant, disruptive. But you know better. You weren't doing too much. You were just being too real in a space built on pretending. You didn't light the match. They'd been sitting in gasoline for years. All you did was show up, and suddenly the temperature changed. The tension thickened. The smiles got tighter. Why? Because your light exposed what they were trying to keep buried. And that's unforgivable to people living in denial. See, when a chosen one walks into the room, they don't just enter, they illuminate. Not with volume, not with ego, but with alignment. And alignment makes people uncomfortable when they're out of sync with their own soul. You didn't have to say a word. Your presence spoke volumes. You reminded them of who they were before they settled, of the dreams they let die, of the masks they wear to survive in spaces that don't even nourish them. They had no problem living in shadows until you stepped in radiating purpose. You didn't preach, you didn't flex, you just were. And that being alone, it shattered every excuse they had for staying small. That's why they made you the villain. It was never about anything you did. It was about what you revealed. And what you revealed made them flinch. Because people don't hate the light for shining. They hate it for exposing. They were comfortable in their darkness. Comfortable in roles that didn't fit. Comfortable living under a ceiling, blaming the world for their lack of growth. And then you walked in, no permission, no apology, and reminded them that healing is possible, that truth is powerful, that purpose is louder than performance. You threatened their comfort with your clarity. Think about it. How many times have you been punished for simply not dimming, for speaking up when something felt off, for refusing to laugh at jokes that weren't funny, for showing love without playing politics? In rooms full of shadows, the one with the light always looks like the enemy. And still, you stayed kind. Still, you tried to understand. Still, you gave them grace. But you weren't the problem. You were the confirmation. Confirmation that the universe still picks people who didn't cheat to get there. People who didn't gossip, manipulate, or perform. People who earned their light in silence, in pain, in sacrifice. And your light? It made their shortcuts obvious. It made their wounds ache. It made their masks slip. So no, you didn't start the fire. They were already burning with unspoken bitterness. You just walked in glowing, and suddenly the smoke had nowhere to hide. You see this in every arena. Look at artists, leaders, innovators, the ones who come in unpolished but powerful. They get attacked first. Think of Prince, too eccentric; Lauryn Hill, too real; Nipsey Hussle, too independent; Chadwick Boseman, too silent about his pain. All of them, too something for a world that prefers shadows over truth. They were lights, just like you. And when lights walk in, people have two choices: step into their own power or try to snuff out yours. Most people choose the latter. But here's the twist: they can't. They can try to twist your words, mock your path, distort your presence. But what they can't do is diminish what's divine. And your light? That's not ego. It's evidence. Evidence that healing is real. That integrity still wins. That purpose doesn't need applause to move. They'll call you intimidating when it's really just their own avoidance talking. They'll label you too deep, too sensitive, too intense, because your truth threatens the lies they've made peace with. But let them talk. Let them squirm. You didn't come to be accepted. You came to activate. That's what it means to be chosen. To light the match just by being present. To disrupt systems without speaking. To force people to confront themselves, not with judgment, but with presence. Your presence is the test. And the ones who fail always blame the light for their shadows. But you just keep glowing. Don't shrink. Don't soften your shine for people who refuse to adjust their vision. You weren't made to blend in. You were made to break patterns. Your light isn't just a gift. It's a weapon. And not for destruction, but for revelation. So if the room shifts when you enter, let it. If people fumble, gossip, act funny, good. That means the light is doing its job. Let them deal with what's been hiding. You just stand tall and stay aligned. You didn't start the fire. But now that you're here, they're finally feeling the heat. Number 4. When the silent ones start talking, the truth gets loud. The quiet ones are always the most dangerous, because when they finally speak, they don't talk, they detonate. At first, everything looked solid. The fake unity, the masked loyalty, the orchestrated claps and forced smiles. Everyone played their part, rehearsed their lines, moved like a polished performance in a theater built on insecurity. But what they forgot was this. The truth doesn't stay buried forever. Pressure builds, silence rots, and the people who watched it all unfold, the ones who stood in the background while pretending to be neutral, eventually feel the weight of the lies pressing too hard on their chest. And that's when it happens. Somebody snaps, and when they do, the truth doesn't leak, it erupts. That one person you thought would never speak, the quiet one, the shadow dweller, the one who kept their head down while chaos danced around them, they're the one who flipped the script. Not because they were bold, but because the truth got too loud to hold anymore. Not out of loyalty, but out of pressure, out of survival, out of the guilt that always grows in the soil of secrets. And now, the dominoes are falling fast. The ones who used to sit around whispering lies and stitching stories didn't expect the quiet one to fold. They thought they'd never talk. But pressure is a brutal teacher. And truth has a timer. Eventually, the clock runs out. And when it does, the silence turns into exposure. Suddenly, screenshots are surfacing. Conversations once denied are now confirmed. Details only insiders would know are being said out loud. And you're sitting there, chosen one, watching it all come undone without lifting a single finger. Because that's the divine setup. The same ones who stayed silent while your name was dragged, they're now the ones dragging each other to keep from drowning. And it all started with the one person who finally cracked. Let's be honest, there's always that one. The person who was in every room, saw every betrayal, heard every plan, nodded at every lie. They never defended you, they never stepped in. But now, with the walls closing in, they're trying to make peace with their own reflection. They thought silence protected them, but silence implicates you. And when the energy shifts, the silent ones start scrambling, trying to outrun the fallout, trying to rewrite their role. But it's too late. They talked. And now everyone's nervous. That single confession, whether it came in a text, a voice note, a late-night panic call, is the match that lit the whole script on fire. And the irony? They weren't trying to do what's right. They were just trying to save themselves. But in trying to protect their own name, they exposed every name they once tried to shield. Because here's the truth. When you build alliances on lies, you don't have friends. You have co-conspirators. And co-conspirators don't stay loyal when truth shows up. They start pointing fingers. They start remembering things they swore they'd forget. And suddenly, the chosen one isn't the enemy anymore. The truth is, you didn't cause this. You didn't even speak. But the truth that once sat in the corner, gagged and bound by silence, is now storming the stage. Every fake apology, every gaslighting tactic, every masked betrayal, it's all coming to light. Not because you forced it, but because the lies couldn't carry their own weight any longer. See, lies require maintenance. Truth doesn't. And when people are out here juggling deception like a full-time job, One dropped ball can take the whole act down. That's what's happening now. And the ones who watched silently while you were torn apart, they're realizing the seats they sat in were never safe. They were just out of the spotlight. Until now. Now, the quiet ones are talking. And because they were there for everything, their words hit harder. They're not speculating. They're confirming. They're not whispering. They're confessing. And the ones who thought they were untouchable? They're shaking. Because the very foundation they built their narratives on is cracking with every truth that escapes. You, chosen one, you don't even need to say, "I told you so." The universe is saying it for you, loudly, through voices that once stayed silent, through revelations that can't be ignored, through the very people who once chose comfort over courage. Now, the truth is too loud to silence. Let them talk. Let the truth burn through everything they built on shadows. You were never crazy. You were never dramatic. You were right. And now, the quiet ones are making sure everyone hears it. When silence breaks, lies shatter. And baby, the shattering has only just begun. Number 5. They never hated you. They hated what you triggered. They never hated you. They hated what woke up inside them every time you walked in the room. Let's kill the illusion right now, chosen one. The hate wasn't personal. It was spiritual. It wasn't about what you did. It was about what your existence activated in people who never had the courage to face their own reflection. Every time you entered their space, calm, authentic, unbothered, they flinched. Not because you were loud, not because you were arrogant, but because you were aligned. And alignment, it's a mirror, and mirrors don't lie. That's why your peace caused them panic. Because people who haven't found peace in themselves can't stand to see it in someone else. You didn't rub it in. You didn't weaponize it. You were it. You embodied balance in rooms built on chaos. You carried light where darkness was comfortable. And that made you a problem. Because it forced them to ask questions they were never ready to answer. Why am I still stuck? Why do they glow when I'm grinding and getting nowhere? How are they calm while everything feels like it's falling apart for me? They weren't mad at your actions. They were haunted by your alignment. And that's where the war started. Not in the physical, not in the conversations, but deep in their own spirit. Because your presence disrupted their lies. Your evolution mocked their excuses. Your healing threatened their hiding places. They said it was you, but it was never you. It was what you triggered. A war they'd been losing inside themselves for years, long before you even entered the picture. See, the truth is, the higher you rise, the more it reveals who's still crawling. And people who aren't ready to grow don't clap for transformation. They attack it. You reminded them that potential isn't enough. That healing is possible. That freedom isn't found in pretending. And that kind of revelation breaks people who've built their identity around their wounds. They saw you glowing and called it fake. They saw your elevation and called it lucky. They saw your peace and called it passive. Because anything they don't understand, they have to label. They have to mock. They have to devalue. It's the only way they can sleep at night. Because the alternative? Accepting that you were chosen and they ignored their own call. You ever notice how they never had a problem when you were broken? How they were fine when you were confused, insecure, shrinking to make everyone comfortable. But the second you started standing tall, drawing boundaries, loving yourself, healing out loud. That's when the shift happened. That's when they turned. Because your transformation wasn't just powerful, it was proof. Proof that they could have done the same, but they didn't. And that's what they hated the most. Let me say it louder for the chosen ones, still trying to make sense of it all. They didn't hate you. They hated that you didn't need their validation to rise. They hated that you healed without an audience, that you evolved without a handout, that you walked into your power without asking for permission. You weren't arrogant, you were undeniable, and that's threatening to anyone who thrives in performance but runs from authenticity. You weren't fighting them, they were fighting their own demons. You just happened to stand in the light long enough to make those demons visible. And when people haven't faced their own darkness, anyone who shines becomes an enemy. Because your light doesn't just illuminate, it activates. It pulls the truth to the surface. And some people would rather start a war than face the truth about themselves. So no, you didn't wrong them. You just reminded them of the work they avoided. And that's a confrontation most people aren't built to handle. They needed to project their pain. They needed a target. And who better than the one walking in peace? The one unshaken by gossip. The one glowing without validation. The one chosen not for perfection, but for resilience. Don't internalize their hate. Don't carry their projections. That's not your weight to bear. What they feel isn't about your worth. It's about their wounds. You just showed up and made it impossible for them to ignore what was broken inside. You are not their villain. You are their wake-up call. And while they waste energy waging internal wars they've blamed you for, you keep walking in alignment. Because what they called threatening was actually just truth wrapped in presence. Your presence. So let them flinch. Let them panic. Let them twist the narrative. The light always triggers the shadows, but the shadows never stop the light from shining. And you, chosen one, you were born to shine, even if it burns them. Number 6. They loved you in secret, but hated you in public. It wasn't hate. It was obsession in disguise. Some of them watched your every move like disciples, not enemies. They studied your light, your rhythm, your resilience, not to learn from it, but to try and replicate it, quietly, secretly, like fans in the dark. But somewhere along the way, admiration soured, pride twisted it, ego got loud, and what started as silent fascination turned into loud opposition. They loved you in silence, but hated you in public, because praising you openly would have meant admitting that you had something they couldn't fake. This wasn't hate rooted in evil. It was envy laced with longing. They didn't really want you gone. They wanted to be you, or at least feel how you feel when you walk in purpose. They loved your confidence, your clarity, your peace. But they hated the reminder that you earned it, that you carried what they chased, but could never keep. And instead of healing what hurt, they masked it with sarcasm, with distance, with tension disguised as jokes. They stood next to you like allies, but in their heart, they were running a quiet competition you never signed up for, one you didn't even know was happening, because that's how secret obsession works. It studies your moves, mimics your energy, and then resents you for being original. And when the glow can't be duplicated, the narrative changes. Suddenly, you're too confident. Suddenly, you changed. Suddenly, they don't vibe with you like they used to. Nah, They still vibe. They just can't admit they admire someone they once tried to downplay. They wanted to be close, but not too close. Not close enough to look small standing next to you. Not close enough to be reminded of the difference between ambition and alignment. Because you weren't just making moves, you were moving in purpose. You weren't desperate to be seen, but you were impossible to ignore. That alone made their energy buckle. They didn't hate you. They hated how much you made them question their own identity. You ever notice how they cheered when you were struggling, but vanished when you started winning quietly? Or how they'd repost strangers online, doing the same things you were doing, but never showed love to you? That's not coincidence. That's concealed conflict. That's someone who wants to support you, but resents needing to. Because if they acknowledge you, they'd have to acknowledge their own jealousy. And pride won't let them. Let's talk facts. Some of the people who talked the loudest about you in public were the same ones watching your stories religiously, reading every caption, screenshotting every win. They didn't clap because they didn't want others to see them clapping. Because if they supported you too openly, the illusion would crumble. People would know the truth. They respect you more than they resent you. They fear your light more than they dislike your presence. They thought being close to you would make them feel powerful, but instead, it made them feel exposed. Because standing beside someone chosen doesn't amplify your light. It reveals whether you have any of your own. And when they saw that the universe didn't favor performance, it favored authenticity, their entire approach fell apart. So what do? They switch sides without ever saying a word. They stop liking, stop calling, they start reposting indirects, throwing shade wrapped in fake spirituality. But their silence screams louder than any insult ever could. Because we both know the truth. They were rooting for you in private long before they tried to bury you in public. And now they're stuck, too prideful to apologize, too exposed to stay quiet, too insecure to come back. So they sit in the shadows watching, still obsessed, still unsure how to handle the fact that you're not only surviving, you're thriving, unbothered, elevated, glowing without even trying. You didn't do anything wrong. You just existed in a way that forced people to feel things they weren't ready to process. You made them reflect. You made them question. You made them see. And seeing yourself through the lens of someone else's purpose can be painful when you haven't healed your own wounds. Let them stay bitter in the background. Let them pretend their silence isn't drenched in obsession. You don't owe them understanding. You don't owe them access. You don't owe them an explanation for how you keep rising. Because they never hated you. They just couldn't admit you were the example they were too proud to follow. And now, they love you in silence and hate the fact that it still shows. Number 7. When truth leaks, alliances crack. They were united in silence until the truth demanded volume. Let's call it what it is: damage control disguised as loyalty. That's what most of these alliances were built on. Not love, not truth, not shared purpose, just silence. Just the mutual agreement to keep a secret long enough to survive the shame. But here's the thing about secrets. They rot. They grow teeth in the dark. And once the light hits them, they scream, loud, relentless, unapologetic. It only took one crack, one slip, one person who got a little too comfortable or a little too afraid, and the whole facade started falling apart. Maybe it was a screenshot that found the wrong eyes, a voice note that wasn't deleted, a conversation repeated one too many times. Whatever it was, it happened. And now, the war isn't between you and them anymore. The war is within them, because what once looked like a squad, a team, a tight circle, is now a paranoid pit of finger-pointing and denial. They were united against you, until they had to protect themselves from each other. The fake unity that gave them power has now become their prison. And there's no escape when the truth starts leaking faster than the lies can cover it. Understand this, chosen one. You never had to swing back. Your energy was the exposure. Your elevation applied the pressure. Your silence was the countdown to their collapse. And now they're scrambling, because the one thing they counted on, each other, is crumbling under the weight of the truth they all tried to bury. The group chats exploding, the alliances quietly unraveling, the "I got your back" vibes gone. Because now that receipts are showing up, everyone's rewriting their version of the past to look the cleanest. It's every snake for themselves now. What's wild is that none of this is happening because you exposed anything. You didn't drop names. You didn't dig through their dirt. You didn't post receipts. You didn't have to. Because when you're chosen, your growth alone destabilizes everything built on lies. And now that they're exposed, the very truth they tried to avoid has turned inward like a weapon. And you know what's even more poetic? The same tactics they used to try and discredit you, manipulation, gossip, half-truths, are now being used against each other. It's karmic recycling. The energy they conjured is now cannibalizing the circle they built. Because when loyalty is fake and alliances are built on hate, there's no real protection when the foundation shakes. They should have kept it real. They should have stayed silent for the right reasons, but instead they chose unity based on secrecy, and now they're paying for it. Every person in that circle is now wondering, who said what? Who saved what? Who's flipping next? The trust is dead, the fear is loud, and the truth is unforgiving. You're just watching it unfold. You ever notice how quiet they get once exposure begins? How the same people who were loud with disrespect suddenly vanish when the spotlight swings back their way? They're not silent out of peace. They're silent out of panic. Because once the truth starts leaking, it doesn't just tell a story, it rewrites the whole narrative. People start connecting dots, seeing patterns, realizing who was really who. And the ones who moved the dirtiest usually look the calmest until the receipts hit. So let them scramble. Let them fumble their stories, switch up their tone, ghost their own friends. That's not your business anymore. What was meant for your destruction has turned into their collapse. You were the target, but now you're just the witness, and the fallout. That's between them and the truth they tried to outrun. And let's be clear, the truth didn't just leak. It liberated. It freed you from the lie. It cleared your name in a way no defense ever could. And now the truth is setting everything ablaze that wasn't built on something solid. Not just for your enemies, but for anyone still playing both sides. Because this season doesn't allow for neutrality. Either you're real or you're exposed. Either you stood for truth or you're caught in the wreckage of the lies. So, chosen one, don't be surprised when they start reaching out, apologizing, spinning stories, pretending like they weren't involved. That's fear talking. That's survival mode. That's the sound of alliances cracking under the pressure of authenticity. Let them shatter. Because when truth leaks, it doesn't destroy you, it delivers you. And the people who once formed a circle to bury your name are now burying each other. Number 8. The clash they created is destroying their own circle. They gathered to bring you down, but now they're bringing each other down. The same hands that linked together to sabotage you are now pulling each other into the fire they lit. The irony: you never had to strike back. They were never unified by love, truth, or loyalty, only by mutual bitterness. And bitterness, no matter how well dressed, always turns inward. What they called a circle was really a ticking time bomb held together by lies, projection, and fear. And now, boom. They thought they had power in numbers, but the only thing they multiplied was dysfunction. You were just the excuse they needed to come together. But without you as the common enemy, they've got nothing left to feed on but each other. They didn't realize that forming alliances based on deception doesn't make you a team. It makes you a liability to everyone in the room. And when the truth shows up, those fake bonds start snapping like twigs under pressure. Now their secrets are spilling. Resentments are being whispered out loud, screenshots flying. Allegiances are shifting like sand in a storm. They're side-eyeing each other, second-guessing the very people they once plotted with. Trust is dead, and paranoia is running the group chat now. Every shady comment, every passive-aggressive post, they're not about you anymore. They're about each other. See, when you're chosen, you don't fight fire with fire. You let their fire turn on itself. And that's exactly what's happening. Every buried feeling is rising like smoke. Rage, jealousy, insecurity, betrayal. It's all coming to the surface. Because when energy isn't aligned with truth, it can only implode. Let them unravel. Let them try to keep their stories straight while everything falls apart. You didn't have to destroy their circle. They built it on sand. You were just the pressure that tested the foundation. And now, it's crumbling in real time. They thought the war they started would ruin you, but now they're realizing the real battlefield was never about you. It was the dysfunction they refused to face in themselves. The clash they created is eating them alive, and all you had to do was walk away. Number 9. They wanted to love you, but their ego said, destroy. Jealousy talks louder than love when healing hasn't happened. They didn't hate you at first. They were drawn to you, pulled in by your energy, your authenticity, your light that didn't need an audience to shine. Deep down, they admired you. They wanted to love you, to stand beside you. But somewhere between their admiration and your ascension, ego got loud. And when ego speaks before healing, it doesn't say, celebrate them. It says, compete. It says, attack. It says, destroy what reminds you of what you never became. You represented something they craved but couldn't grasp. Peace without pretending, confidence without clout, purpose without permission. And rather than look inward and confront why that triggered them, they chose to sabotage it. Chose war over self-work. Chose bitterness over becoming. They couldn't handle seeing you carry what they secretly desired, so they turned admiration into opposition, love into strategy, respect into rivalry. Not because you wronged them, but because your very presence made them feel like they'd failed themselves. And here's the twisted truth. They still wanted to love you. They just didn't know how to do it without feeling small next to you. So instead of rising to meet your energy, they tried to dim it, but they couldn't. And now, they're left wrestling with the fallout of a war they started against someone who only ever reflected what they refused to heal. You didn't intimidate them. You exposed them. Number 10. Stand tall. They fought over you because you matter. When your name causes war, your purpose is bigger than their peace. Chosen one, understand this. The chaos surrounding your name was never random. It was confirmation. People don't fight over what's irrelevant. They don't plot against the unimportant. Your name shook rooms, not because you begged for attention, but because your energy commanded it. They clashed, not because you were problematic, but because you were powerful. You mattered, and that truth made them restless. You were never too much. You were just too free for people still trapped in their limitations, too honest for spaces built on comfort, too pure for crowds who learned to survive by performing. You didn't fit because you weren't supposed to. You didn't break the peace. They were just using peace to cover up a power struggle they thought you'd never disrupt. But you did, by existing, by healing, by glowing in places where they expected you to dim. You pulled feelings out of people they didn't even know they were hiding. Jealousy, admiration, resentment, even love. And when they couldn't make sense of those emotions, they chose war over reflection. But that's the price of being unforgettable. You didn't choose to be the storm. They made you the lightning rod. They made your presence the battleground. So don't shrink. Don't second guess. Stand tall. You were never the villain. You were the impact. And if your name still echoes after you've gone silent, that's not proof of guilt. It's evidence of power. You shook something loose in them. And even in the clash, your purpose is speaking louder than their noise. Let them wrestle. You were built to rise. And so, as the dust settles and the masks continue to fall, let this truth echo in your spirit. They clashed because you mattered. Your energy shifted rooms, exposed intentions, and awakened everything they tried to hide. You didn't just survive the chaos, you triggered it by existing in truth. That's power. If this spoke to your soul, like this video, subscribe and drop the number 77 in the comments if you've ever been the reason people fell out, not because you caused harm, but because you carried light. Share this with another chosen one who needs the reminder. Their impact is louder than the noise.